sitting at computers and analyzing data and thinking. And even the people in the ship were kind of caricatures. Oh, I feel so guilty. We made a mistake. We must go back.
Yes, I will agree with you there. I mean, even though I enjoyed the sections where they're talking about the astronauts who are currently in space, aside from the captain, I kept being aware of, I don't know how many other people are on this ship, or just I'm confused with the dialogue because yes, there were no distinct characters there whatsoever. And I think, oh, I like the NASA sections better, but casting my mind back, I have this vague recollections of there's a director and there's like a pushy PR person.
And there's the hardworking woman who made the breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very hard to come up with anything in particular, but you're totally right with the corny, and this is just a personality difference because you mentioned, for example, dad humor, and I have always thought, but what is it that happens to men where it seems like once they have a child, there's some chemical shift in their brain where now puns are the height of humor. And I've never found a pun funny, but I have definitely seen men all of a sudden after having a baby shift into this bizarre dad humor. And I really think it's some kind of biological shift. I wonder if I were to have a baby, would I suddenly think that puns are punny? Right? Because they're not. But it's just that kind of stuff drives me crazy. And yes, this sort of humor was along those lines. So it's why I would be much, much more resistant to it. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that stuff. But sidebar, is there a biological change in men when they have children about the humor they like? I demand answers. Someone's PhD in neuroscience needs to be on this topic.
All right, so thumbs down from Gray. I'm giving it a thumbs up. It's not a masterpiece. It's just, it's the other thing is it's easy as pie to read. It's not. Yeah. It's that's the other reason. It's like a hot knife through butter reading that book. It's a real page. You're not sitting there being challenged in any way, and that was always helpful.
That may definitely contribute to why it is a more popular book. I mean, I have to say, I'm always very happy to see anybody who starts off as self-published, as this author was, achieve phenomenal success. I always like that. Yeah. So easy to read definitely goes along with that and helps grease the wheels. The only other thing I did want to talk about was just the movie a little bit.
Yeah. How did you I guess you didn't go through this experience, Thaddy, because I read the book before the movie was announced. I was going to say, how did you feel when you heard that Matt Damon was going to be Mark Watney?
Two things here. The first was when I decided I'm going to buy The Martian and give it a try. When I went to buy it, the cover is a big picture of Matt Damon's face. And this is always something that drives me crazy with books. Like, I've never, ever... You know, when I used to buy a lot of books, I'm sitting in a room right now with a whole bunch of books that have been collected over my lifetime, my parents' lifetime, and I would never, ever, ever buy the movie version of the book.
Yeah.
I can only assume that they sell well because they always come out, but I personally hate them. And I'm always suspicious of the kind of reader who would buy the movie cover of the book.
I'm totally with you on that one, Gray.
Yeah, and I had a thought, which if anybody at Apple is listening, I was looking at this thing and I thought, this is an electronic book. It's not a real book. Why can't I select the cover that I want to have in my library? Why do I have to have Matt Damon's face looking at me? If this is not a physical object anymore, I should be able to select whatever the first edition cover was. But no, Matt Damon was there, and it was almost enough to make me not buy the book, but I did overcome at the last second to get it just as the wheels were lifting off.
Matt Damon.
But it did also cause the problem as I was reading the book. I kept thinking, Matt Damon? Is he this character remotely? I don't think so.
I mean, I can imagine that would have really affected how much I liked Mark Watney. And like, I mean, Matt Damon does some all right stuff, and he does some rubbish, and you know, you can think what you want about him. But I did have a blank slate for my Mark Watney, and if I had Matt Damon preloaded as Mark Watney, I might not be saying quite the nice things about him that I am, or maybe I don't know. I'll never know because I can't do it again. But
yeah, I don't have strong feelings about Matt Damon one way or the other. So it's not like, oh, I don't or do really like him. Yeah. I just, at a few times I thought, because of the humor, I thought I have a hard time imagining Matt Damon do this.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like Matt Damon was in my brain as I was reading the book because I thought these characters seemed so different.
Okay.
He seems like a very strange casting choice for this person.
Yeah.
But so I always knew that the movie was out, and just before we started recording this podcast, I thought, oh, I want to watch the trailer because I'd seen some people talking about it when it first came out, and the trailer is perhaps the most magnificently spoiler-tastic trailer I have ever seen. It was astounding. I mean, the trailer is whatever it is, 2 or 3 minutes long, but it hits every single plot point in the whole book.
Yeah.
I was amazed.
I'm trying to remember, actually. I have watched it a few times, and I do remember I showed it to my wife because she knew that I enjoyed the book, and I said, oh, they're making it into a film. Let's watch the trailer together. And I think we watched it twice. Like, I do remember being struck by the quantity of spoilers in it. I do agree with your observation. But do you mind if I look at it?
Do you want to watch it again?
Yeah, I do. Let me watch it.
You watch it right now.
I'm watching it.
Okay, you watch it. I'm going to watch it again as well.
It is a good trailer if you ignore spoiler issues. It does make you think, I want to go and see the film. I watched it, Gray.
So you just watched the trailer again?
I watched it. There was one thing I thought they didn't spoil, but I'm wrong. They did spoil it.
All of the major plot points, the trailer hits.
Yeah.
Which, if you're listening to us talk now, we're assuming that you're okay with spoilers. But it's the storm that comes, his hab has an explosion, he finds the probe, he communicates with NASA. NASA comes up with a plan to rescue him. The astronauts already in space decide to do a mutiny and turn their spaceship around, and they show the final takeoff where he is rescued from Mars. It was just amazing.
They even have a shot showing like the number on the wall, how many days he's been alive, and things like that as well. It's almost deliberate.
You know what? There are so many spoilers, it didn't even cross my mind that showing him writing 461 on the wall is also a massive spoiler on how long is he going to survive. It's amazing.
I will say this though. If you hadn't read the book, a lot of those spoilers would have been lost on you. That is true. Like, you would have the takeoff. You probably couldn't have clocked that was him taking off from Mars somehow. You could easily have missed that. You wouldn't have clocked that was the old NASA probe that he was rubbing the dust off and using to get back in touch with Earth. You definitely wouldn't have picked up on that if you didn't know the book or you weren't very au fait with Martian history. So in some ways, the spoiler is only spoiling it for people who've read the book anyway, and it's telling us what things have made it and what hasn't. I don't think it shows him flipping his vehicle, which was a big moment in the book as well, wasn't it? When he's driving long distances and he flips.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't think they show that. But, maybe they hadn't filmed that yet, so they couldn't cram